Welcome to What's Up, Punks. We'll take a look at the myriad subgenres underneath the umbrella of punk. Today we'll be taking a look at Oceanpunk. Avast me hearties, yo-ho. What is Oceanpunk?
His name is Luffy. That's Monkey D. Luffy. King of the pirates.
Before we get into it, can my fellow weebs and I take a moment? One Piece still isn't finished. And we allowed this to be a thing. But yeah, that. Like exactly that. It's a punk that embraces the romanticized idea of pirates, good-natured rogues, and buxom women. Sailing the seas for adventure.
Drink up, me hearties, yo-ho.
And Marshall Erickson is a gay pirate! Oh yeah!
This one comes in a few variants of bottled water. Either we are starting off on a world similar to our own, but instead of 65 to 75% water, we're looking more at 85. So GJ1214B. Another variant is Earth, but post-crisis, giving us that rare post-apocalyptic scenario of the drowned Earth. This one goes out to all my West Coast wastelanders. Really? Gonna stop one apocalypse by causing another apocalypse? I'm not gonna sit here and DT-splain, but let's just move on. Or we just royally screwed up terraforming Mars, and instead of getting Earth 2, we get a drowned world. Oceanpunk stories focus primarily on the idea of freedom, how it sometimes runs contrary to peace and order. Oceanpunk protagonists are pirates, treasure hunters, mercenaries, or just people of the sea. Ha! Nope, try again. There it is. Let that steep into your nightmares. Also, yes, we do have merpeople, but that's not what I meant. A Oceanpunk protagonist's livelihood or existence is dependent on the ocean. However, despite them being mariners, they cannot be part of a formal military. However, they can be licensed under an authority.
Let's see. Perhaps having you with us might help the police too, Detective.
How's that?
If I had a full staff ready to work, I could take on private side jobs from you, Yagi.
Given the nature of Oceanpunk worlds, it's a little hard for Big Brother to keep an eye on everyone moving on the board. So many times Oceanpunks will find themselves contracted out to the very authority they snub their noses at. We'll get into that later. Oceanpunk should also never be confused with Seapunk, which is just its own brand of crazy. Yes, I'm totally going to cover that next summer. Technology. Once again, all over the place. While the setting holds many of the values of the 1730s, when maritime piracy was a significant factor in the histories of the Caribbean and United Kingdoms, the tech is either contemporary or very advanced, to straight up magic, but focusing mostly on maritime transport, with a few outliers like One Piece. Planes and airships are around, but given the insane amount of water to travel over, galleons, ships, submersibles, underwater mechs, you think after last time's gear mechs this would stop surprising me, but nope. Break it down, even the Avas are just splatterpunk mechs as well. Yeah, back on task. Sea Transpo is the hotness tech-wise for Oceanpunk. One of the things I find most interesting about Oceanpunk is the concept of treasure and how it's all in the eye of the beholder. Yeah, golden jewels will put food in your belly, coffee in your cup, but if you're looking to be an S-class treasure hunter, you're going to be picking through the ruins of the drowned world as treasure for the new world. The power cells of Mega Man Legend is an example of such treasure hunting, or the salvage operations of Agent Akia. Basically soggy, but functional. Aesthetics. Bright colors from the aquas of the water to the deep browns of rust is the name of the game in this punk. However, you can very much see the cyberpunk influence in the aesthetic of Oceanpunk. There isn't a lot of flourishes when it comes to Oceanpunk maritime transport, or floating/submerged cities. Built to work, rusted to the gills and covered in barnacles, that boat will still tread water, dutifully carrying its crew to a new adventure. Not saying there isn't never a flourish. The nice side of the tracks in Daphne, the Brilliant Blue, and the city of Ara have very much a Venezia vibe.
Venice! Venezia! La Serenissima! Impossible city. Preposterous city.
Though most Oceanpunk is played out between the waves, when the crew makes landfall, the big cities are modeled after the City of Water, and the tinier ones more like generic port who gives the craft sprinkled along the Caribbean. Speaking of crews, the one thing almost everyone can get behind: hot women in cruise clothing and swimsuits. God's bless sun, sea air, and margaritas. If you live in a non-plague punk universe. Freedom. Absolute. So the main takeaway, philosophically, of Oceanpunk is moral authority is bullshit. For all the good and bad that entails. Let's take a look at the Navy and the Straw Hat Pirates from One Piece, and the Pirates of Mars on the Daybreaker. In both cases, the pirates are unquestionably the good guys. The Straw Hat crew have saved scores of innocents, and the Navy has committed crimes even worse than the pirates they hunt. While on Mars, the crew of the Daybreaker are doing the whole Robin Hood thing, as much as they can while keeping the Daybreaker floating. The Mars government being separated from its people, trying to hold off the Earth government from annexing it more than just name like it had been at the start of the series. All this is contradictory to the traditional white hat and black hat roles. However, this is also BS. Yes, the Straw Hat guys are good peeps, but they don't help or save people because it's the right thing to do. They just like the people they run into, and if they don't, they don't, and they have brutalized a few people they don't. And not everyone in the Navy are murderous nutjobs, like Luffy's grandfather or Kobe. Yet, they also do perpetuate a government that is censoring the true history of the world. For our crew on the drowned Mars, yes, they help the people, but Mars Gov isn't in a great position here, trying to hold on to their freedom, even if they become little more than talking heads, disconnected from the plight of their people. So like a lot of punk protagonists and antagonists, there are shades of gray, but I feel with the freedom of such an open world, these shades get harder and harder to distinguish. Absolute freedom is just as dangerous as absolute control. However, if everyone adopted that same mentality, well, a world of everyone doing what they want is a little different than Humongous taking the oil in Mad Max.
Land, the Ayatollah of rock and roller!
Where did Oceanpunk start? Here's in the video where I wish I had done C-Punk, as that one's birthed from Twitter. It's amazingly well documented. Oceanpunk is not like that at all. The earliest Oceanpunk story would be the Odyssey, but the prototypical Oceanpunk story is It's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, the adventures of Captain Nemo aboard the Nautilus, which was built and secret is now roaming the seas beyond the reach of land-based governments. And self-imposed exile, Captain Nemo seems to have a dual motivation: a quest for scientific knowledge, and a desire to take revenge on terrestrial civilization. His ship, the Nautilus, was so advanced, the coalition of nations thought it was a legit sea monster. Real-life Oceanpunks. Jacques Cousteau, French naval officer, explorer, conservationist, filmmaker, innovator, scientist, and photographer. Author and researcher who studied the sea and all forms of life in water, and the inventor of the scuba gear. Radio Caroline. I love bringing it back to music. Paul, get on an Oceanpunk album. Throw some Afrofuturism together, it'll be great. One of the most underrated movies of the 2000s in my opinion. Pirate Radio was a fictionalized version of the trials and tribulations of some radio DJs on a boat in international waters called the Caroline. Apologies if I call it the Carolina throughout this, I just think it's a better name for a boat. Spinning the top 40 off the American charts. Why? 2 parts money, 1 part honor. The BBC favored a bland if nourishing diet of news, information, entertainment, and kids programming, and they were not in the policy of giving out radio licenses to small-time operators. So logically, you get on a boat and crank out tunes. Eventually, the government won, making it illegal to advertise on the pirate radio stations and operate legitimately in the UK. 1 month after the law took effect, the BBC launched its first pop station. But for a time, there was some legit pirate radio going on. Follow-up, how has there not been a Doctor Who episode with the Doctor on the Caroline? Copyright problems, I bet. Treasure hunters. No joke, well, Stan Pine's dreams were just that, using the dinky boat the 2 Pines had refurbished. There is an estimated $771 trillion worth of salvageable treasure lost at sea. And real people do in fact try their damnedest to find it. Living by a today's the day mentality. Recommendations. The Pirates of Darkwater. Screw you, Ted Turner, you meteorite-chopping douche. An underrated animation from the Hanna-Barbera days. About Ren, a prince in waiting, and his crew of pirates hunting down mystical treasures that could bring salvation or destruction to the whim of the user. The world of Mara is an ocean world that has an infestation of demonic water, known as dark water, that is devouring the world. It can either be controlled or destroyed by the 13 Treasures of Rule. The Wraith Ren ship always struck me as having a very cool design, and the animals of Mir also have a really fun design. Probably some nostalgia glasses on this one, but if you can find it, check it out. It was, however, not as cool as SWAT Cats. Seriously, screw you, Ted Turner. Mars. Daybreaker. This could have won me over alone with the fact they actually bring up how much of a pain in the ass it is to have anything metal around seawater. I feel a lot of media just blows by that. Also, freaking C-Mechs. I know it's not that bizarre of a concept. I believe the first time I saw it was Gundam Wing, the Pisces or Cancer suits. But this is a whole anime based around them. It's a cool logical jump, similar to how I enjoy the mechs from Code Geass, being a progression of Knight's plate armor. These seem like a progression of deep sea diving suits. Anyway, we terraformed Mars, but went screwy and ended up drawing the planet. In a weird way, it was a net positive, as water isn't as common in space as you might think, giving the Martians a resource to make bank, even if they do have to live under the sea like a certain sponge. One war and some tariffs from Earth later, Earth Gubs basically go in imminent domain. Martians aren't doing so well with most of them out of work, so Mars from almost every sci-fi series ever but wetter. Piracy is starting to run amok. Enter the protagonist, Ram River. Honestly, the most relatable anime protagonist I've seen since the Elric brothers. He's aware of women around him, and when he realizes he's a good mech pilot, his immediate thought is, well, that's cool. Pay me for my time. It was made by King of Mechs, Bandai. Agent Akia. Yeah, this is basically softcore porn. Totally cheesecake, but in my defense, it's really funny in a The Room kind of way. If you made a drinking game about all the gratuitous panty shots, you would be drunk by the end of the first episode and literally dead by the third. It's definitely one of those late 80s, early 90s animes where the characters don't have a lot of style, but the vehicles and items are gorgeous. If you like so bad it's good anime, I searched this one out. But if you're looking for fan service with a great plot, that's Spice and Wolf. How do I feel about Oceanpunk? I like it. Sign of the times, but the open ocean sounds like a dream world. No limits, just pick a point on the horizon and go there. To live without barriers with a crew of good mates to support you. That's the dream. Sign out question. Was Waterworld really that bad? For the youngins, Waterworld was a movie about a drowned Earth, pretty standard, ice caps melt, Earth became a titular Waterworld, people started living on boats and sea cities. It was also really pan of the day, mostly because it was so damn expensive to make. However, was this movie from the mid-90s really oh god, yes. Yeah, I do believe in giving things their time in court, but 25 years later, this thing still sucks. The action looks like a Universal stunt show. Pa Kent should never have been an actor. I've never seen this man emote. Despite the fact I don't support NC anymore, he was bang on the money. This is movement porn. I feel like I was watching a montage in real time. I spent $4 renting this thing for research purposes, and I feel dirty. Not in a good way. This has been What's Up Punk. Till next time, see you at the Black Sabbath in your best nanotech clothing, but with a retro pocket watch. But keep on being a no good, dirty punk.
You know it, you love it, here's the spiel, let's do it. Hit subscribe to be my subscriber. Hit the bell so you know when I've actually posted stuff. Still no idea why those two things are separate now, but whatever. And of course, hit like to appease the algorithm gods. All fear and praise. On a list of whatever YouTubes, I am also probably not going to get any ad revenue for these videos, so if you would be so kind, check out that Patreon and the GoFundMe. Links in the description.